is Allan Boomer, Momentum Advisors Chief Investment Officer, joins us right now. And Allan, appreciate you coming on here to chat. I guess we'll start on the stimulus front, since that seems to be the catalyst that a lot of investors are pointing to here in the short term. We've heard a lot of talk, a lot of optimism shared before, this deadline, but still no results really to point to here. So what are your expectations on what we should be expecting?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I think the big thing about this stimulus is that it's a lot less than what was initially expected. Initially the markets were kind of expecting a blue wave whereby the Senate and the House both go Democratic. And we all know that the House has been Democratic, and there's been more of a larger ticket on that stimulus package. So now that we've got sort of a divided House and Senate, and really January is when we'll finally know the outcome in the Senate with the Georgia runoffs. But the expectation today is somewhere in the $1 trillion range. The expectation is that a big portion of that goes towards small businesses and also unemployment. And there's a real big need. Like, there's a ton of small businesses that have closed. There's an estimate that 1 out of every 6 restaurants in America will close or is already closed. And so there really is a need for some urgent action on the stimulus front.
Allan, I want to get to some of your picks here, because you've got some interesting names in the mix right now. McKesson, one of the names you're looking at, and I point to that one because we've been talking so much about the drug makers around the COVID vaccine and how much they're likely to benefit. But McKesson provides sort of these cold storage facilities. How much of this play you think is short-lived, though, in the initial days of the vaccine distribution, or are the gains you're talking about, 23% upside, is that something that's sustainable?
Yeah, so McKesson, I think, is a great stock for a lot of reasons. I mean, one is when you look at valuation, right? We're in a market today where there's a ton of stocks that are trading at really, really high valuations. McKesson is trading at less than 15 times next year's earnings. And this company, in terms of its logistics, is going to be really crucial in the vaccine being distributed, because there's a number of different vaccines that have had really favorable results. But at the end of the day, they need to make it all the way out to the public in order for the vaccine to be successful. We think that this vaccine doesn't really start to roll out in mass until the second or third quarter. And so this isn't a one-time thing. Like, this is going to be with us for a while. And we think McKesson is a key player in that business.
Allan, there's another name on that list here, which I should note is our parent company in Verizon, but it's one of those names that some people are pointing to as some of those safer stocks to look at, just in terms of the price action we've seen through this year. Talk to me about why that one's on your list as well.
Sure. Verizon is, again, a stock that's trading at a really low valuation, but has a lot of great things going on with it. This is a year where the top tech stocks have really dominated, right? You think about the Facebooks, the Apples, the Amazons, Netflix, Google, Microsoft. Any other stock has kind of been pushed aside. Even the steady Eddie like Verizon, which continues to be profitable, has a great balance sheet, pays out over a 4% dividend, and really has been very critical during COVID. Like, we were on Wi-Fi, we're on our cell phones, and Verizon or that. And so again, a lot of stocks like Verizon just kind of sit there, and they're just, not the area of focus today. But I do think that valuation is going to matter a lot more in the future.
And Allan, finally, a name that we've talked a lot about on the show, which is Peloton. Just like Zoom, one of those companies that has seen huge upside during this pandemic as more and more people have taken to exercising from home. You say there's 20% upside here. How much of that do you think is driven by the actual vehicle itself, the bikes that Peloton's selling? They've got the higher end now, what some would consider a little cheaper, although still not affordable for a lot of people. Or how much of the growth do you think is really about the subscriptions beyond the bike itself?
I think a lot of the growth is beyond the bike. So Peloton initially was a one product company. They had a bike. They now have a high-end bike, a low-end bike. They have this new product called the Tread. They have this app. The app is huge because the app allows people who can't for the bike to still, and when you add up all of the subscribers to the app, plus everyone that has the bike, Peloton is only, really, it's penetrated less than 2% of the US market, let alone what it's done in the rest of the world, which is, not much. And so I think, Peloton has been down from its highs largely because of the logistical issues. They've had a lot of delays in getting bikes into people's homes that have been ordered. But, Peloton is very much a cult following type of company. Like the folks that have the bike, the folks that are subscribers to the app, it's a community. It's way more than just a bike. It's way more than just an app. And when you think about the environment of fitness companies in the world, really, there's been a ton of gyms that used to be open will not be in existence anymore. And I think we're getting a lot more used to working from home and working out from home. And there are folks who, a lot of focus has been on the folks who, whose finances have been poor during this COVID climate. There's a ton of folks who their balance sheet, their personal balance sheet's gone better during COVID. And we're seeing folks that maybe could never have afforded a Peloton before now be interested in owning a bike. And so I think Peloton is just one of these companies. It's not cheap by any stretch, but we do think there's a lot of upside in the name.
Yeah, I mean, to that excitement that we've seen. I mean, people always talk about the craze over new fitness products and whether or not you can pry them away from that cult-like following. And I think it's a little different. I mean, you can ask your friends in terms of, I guess, trying to get those Bowflex Select Tech dumbbells out of their hands versus a Peloton. That sense of community clearly setting it apart here. But Allan Boomer, Momentum Advisors Chief Investment Officer, appreciate you joining us on that today. Be well.